I have been playing around with different types of content and decided to try my hand at sharing some historical facts I find interesting. Welcome to Ancient Africa, our hidden history rediscovered. Who are our Moorish ancestors? Today we're diving into the story of the Moors. Trust me, it's way cooler than what you've probably heard in history class. So, who were the Moors? Well, it's complicated, but basically, Europeans used this term to describe the Muslim people living in North Africa and parts of Europe during the Middle Ages. The word Moor actually comes from Latin and means dark or black. But here's the thing, the Moors weren't just one type of people. Let's break down the mix of people in North Africa real quick. 1. You've got the OG Africans, the ones who made those awesome Saharan rock paintings. 2. Then some Europeans crashed the party. They're called the Sea Peoples. 3. The Romans showed up and stuck around for a while. 4. Arabs came in during the 7th century and shook things up. 5. And finally, sadly, enslaved Africans were brought in after the 1500s. Now, a lot of people focus on that last group when they think of African history, but the Moors we're talking about came way before that. It's super important not to mix these groups up. The Moors were mostly descended from the Berbers, North African folks with deep African roots. When they converted to Islam around the 700s, it was like hitting the cultural jackpot. They mixed their African heritage with Arab, Persian, and other influences, creating this amazing blend of cultures. In 711, the Moors, led by this badass general named Tariq ibn Ziyad, decided to expand into Spain and Portugal. They set up shop there for almost 800 years. But get this, they didn't just conquer land, they brought knowledge. Alright, let's break down the Dark Ages in Europe real quick. Picture this, Rome falls, and suddenly Europe's like a kid who lost their parents at the mall. Total chaos. We're talking about a time from around 500 to 1000 AD, when things went seriously downhill. Cities crumbled, knowledge took a nosedive, and it was basically survival mode for most people. Imagine no running water, no schools, and diseases running wild. Europe went from having this awesome Roman civilization to barely being able to keep the lights on. They lost so much knowledge that people actually forgot how to build proper roads, or even read in some places. But here's the kicker. While Europe was having its meltdown, the rest of the world was doing just fine, thank you very much. Africa, in particular, was like that smart kid in class who always has their act together. The African continent, especially places like Mali and the areas where the Moors lived, was busy advancing science, math, and art. They were building universities when some European kings couldn't even write their names. It's like Africa was holding a torch for civilization while Europe was fumbling around in the dark. Here's the kicker that most people don't know. The Moors basically helped drag Europe out of the Dark Ages. Yeah, you heard that right. While Europe was stuck in a rut, the Moors were making huge strides in math, science, medicine, and agriculture. Their knowledge was so lit that European universities were created just to translate Moorish texts. We're talking big names like Oxford, Cambridge, and Bologna. These places became hotspots for spreading Moorish knowledge all over Europe. The Moors didn't stop at book smarts. They revolutionized farming with new crops and fancy irrigation systems. And don't even get me started on their architecture. Ever heard of the Alhambra? Google it, it's mind-blowing. So, here's the deal. The Moors were this diverse group of people with strong African roots who made a massive impact on world history. They proved that Africa was contributing big time to global knowledge and innovation long before European colonization. Next time someone tries to downplay Africa's role in world history, hit them with these facts about the Moors. It's time we recognize the full picture of our history and challenge those oversimplified stories we've been told. Stay curious and keep digging into our hidden history.